Hello. This is Prophet AmbiGlow, and we are back with Bible study. So, one, I hope my voice stays. Yesterday was kind of rough. I stayed in bed the most of the day. I did do a few things, but I was so weak. I knew it was probably witchcraft too, but witchcraft, and I was just not feeling good. But I am back and I'm definitely going to jump back into this Bible study first. So we're going to pray and then we are going to jump right in Genesis 5 and 6. We're doing 2 today only because Genesis 5 is really just the family line of Adam. So let me pray and then we'll jump right in. Father God, I thank you for gathering us here today. Thank you for healing me yesterday. Lord, thank you for being with me. Thank you for always giving me the strength to keep moving. It's always you. Thank you for not allowing me to turn to the opposite side. Thank you for always being good. Thank you for always being good to all of us, all of your children. You are a good father. Lord, as we read through Genesis 5 and 6 today, God, I pray that you highlight things that we have never seen before. Lord, use me. Take over my tongue. Let it be all of you and none of me. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, so like I say, Genesis 5 is really just the family line, but I do want to read through just to acknowledge it because it's interesting with all the years and everything. Now you're gonna have to forgive me on some of these names because as we know, these names be what? And it probably would be really good as like a side note to look up what the names mean. I probably will do that on my own time later on. And I might come back and make like comments or something, or make a comment or put it in the description, whichever one. But we're going to start off with Genesis 5, and I am reading from the NIV. So it says, "This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them, and he named them mankind when they were created. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image. He named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan, and he became the father. Oh, after he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. When Kenan lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. Y'all, come on, somebody. And you notice how they started having children like younger each time, So I think that's kind of interesting. They started having children like younger. But yes, when Kenan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. After he became the father of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Kenan lived a total of 910 years, and then he died. When Mahalalel lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. After he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, I'm going to just call him Maha, lived a total of 895 years, and then he died. When Jared lived 162 years, he became the father of Enoch. After he became the father of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years, and then he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. After he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked faithfully with God 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more because God took him away. I'm going to pause real quick. Notice how Enoch didn't even live the longest, but he walked faithfully with God. And God was like, God wanted him to be with him. Like, he didn't even live all the way up to like 800 and 900 years. Enoch only lived 365 years. So he was young in the eyes of in the sight of everyone else. He was young. And he walked faithfully with God after he had his children. That's so good. And then he was no more. God wanted him so bad. He was like, you know what? You're not even gonna die. I'm gonna just take you away. Like, we just gonna go together. Like, it's gonna be okay. God was like, oh wow, he's my favorite. I think that's good. Because, you could be any age, right? To walk faithfully with God. Verse 25, when Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. After he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son. He named him Noah, and said, he will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands, caused by the ground the Lord has cursed. After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. I want to also say Lamech was the one who had a little pride, wasn't he? In Genesis 4, at the end of Genesis 4, yeah, Lamech was the one who said to his wives, Ada and Zelle, listen to me, wives of Lamech, hear my words. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for injuring me. If Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lamech 77 times. But it's like, you won't get extra protection, So he had a little pride in him. And that was who Lamech was. I got you. Okay, so verse 32. In Genesis 5, the last verse, it says, after Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Noah was 500, y'all. Okay, so we're actually going to get into the nitty gritty in Genesis 6. So, let me see. Okay, we're already 8 minutes in. Okay, so in Genesis 6, the wickedness of the world. Now, this is where it starts getting crazy, okay? So it says in verse 1, and you'll have to excuse me if I start coughing. When human beings began to increase in numbers on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Now, these sons of God, these were the ones that came from heaven, and this was doing too much, right? Like, doing way too much. They saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. That was a big cut. Come on, somebody. Like, they live in 900 years, and that's why I wanted to read Genesis 5, because it's like, they're living 900 years. Come on, somebody. And it's so wild. If we're not in the end times, they're living 900 years. You know what I'm saying? 900 plus. And then now we barely can make it to 60, 70. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh. Like, we are still babies. We like, compared to them, we are like infants, So it says, God said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. In verse 4, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Come on now, like, that's crazy. Verse 6, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. Come on, somebody, y'all. It says in verse 6, the Lord regretted that he made human beings on earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. Y'all, God regretted he made human beings on the earth. Oh my goodness. Verse 7, so the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created. Oh my goodness. I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Now Noah was 500, y'all. That's okay, like he up there. But it say Noah found favor with the eyes of the Lord. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof. It says, make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons, and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Okay, I just read all of Genesis 6. Imagine having that favor with God. Now he's looking down. He regrets making the human race. You gotta, sometimes you gotta put yourself in the Bible, right? God regrets making the human race, and he has literally said, you know what? I'm gonna just kill them all. We just gonna start over. I'm gonna just kill them all. But there's this one person, there's this one man, this one righteous man that he has walked faithfully with me, and he's blameless among the people. Imagine. And that's how we have to be. In the days that are very dark, we have to be faithful with God. We have to walk faithfully with God. When everyone turns away to other gods, when everyone turns away to the government, when everyone turns away to, come on somebody, because that's what we're doing. When everyone turns away to their money, when everyone turns away to their things of this world and the people of this world, you have to be faithful to God. Come on. You have to be faithful to God. The earth is corrupt in God's sight and full of violence. And we know there is violence everywhere. Like, it's like starting all over again. Come on, somebody. Like, it's corrupt. It's just bad. Like, people have lost their minds. But of course, we have Jesus now. They didn't have Jesus at the time. So God's not going, okay, he already made that promise, and that's in the later chapters. But imagine just being that one person that God said, you know what? I'm going to give you the secret. This is what God still does to this day. When you're walking faithfully with God and you're talking with God and you're praying and you're making supplications and you're praising him and you're just being grateful to have his presence. You're being grateful to have his presence. He said, oh my goodness, that's so good, Lord. He will give you the secrets. He will tell you of the judgment that's coming on people. He will tell you of certain things that the people around you are going through. And it's not for you to go tell them. Oh my goodness. Hear me. It's not for you to go tell them. When God tells, because it is, sometimes God will. Sometimes God will tell you, hey, don't go around this person because so and so. He has to be able to trust you with that information. That's not for, if he knows you're going to go tell him, he ain't going to tell you. But it's for you to follow his instruction from now on. That's why sometimes when God tells you to do something and you're like, Lord, why? Like when God tells you to move away from somebody, when God tells you to stop talking to somebody, you're like, Lord, why? What? He's not going to tell you why, because you can't be trusted with that information. Oh my goodness. Somebody hear me. He's not going to tell you why, because you can't be trusted with that information. Now, for somebody who can be trusted, God will. I can tell you for sure by experience and me walking with God, he will tell you if you can be trusted not to go blab in your mouth. He will tell you, hey, move away from this person. Okay, I had to start over. But I was saying, because my little Google came up, but I was saying he will tell you, hey, move away from this person. I need you to move because da 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 da. Like he will tell you that if you are trustworthy. And God is building us all up to become that. And sometimes you don't have to know everything. So sometimes he'll tell you to do something just because you're supposed to be listening to him anyway. Come on, somebody. But he is a good, loving God. And depending on how you ask him, he's there for you. He is there for you. But yeah, God gave him instruction. He said, look, Noah, I'm about to wipe out all these people, but I like you. And because I like you, I need you to do this. And he gave him instructions on building the ark. I mean, he gave him to the T in all the detail. And I bet, I'm not even going to sit here and lie, I bet Noah was like, okay, first of all, you telling me I got to get 2 of every kind of bird, every kind of animal, every kind of creature. And he's like, how am I going to do that? But that's the part that you can't do. Oh my goodness. That's the part that you have to trust God in. Oh my goodness. You catching me? That's the part that you have to trust God to do his part. Come on now. Because imagine this. He's like, Lord, how am I going to find 2 roaches to stay on my ark? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's these things. Because he had to bring everything. And I'm like, Lord, you couldn't take them roaches away? No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, how am I supposed to keep 2 roaches on my boat? But that's God's job. So God spoke to the roaches. God spoke to the ants. God spoke to all the animals 2 by 2. He chose 2 of them. And he said, he directed them. Come on, somebody. And the animals know that God is faithful. Come on, somebody. They are not like us. They are not like us. They don't have all these anxieties and all these things like that. Like, God watches over the sparrows. If he watches over the sparrows, he watches over all. Like, he watches over all of them. But that was God's job. So God gave him instruction. And he told him, hey, you're going to be protected. And I am going to make a covenant with you. So that alone is comforting, because in the time of judgment, in the time where the world is going crazy, God has already established a covenant with you. His unfailing love. Come on. Come on, somebody. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed. Come on. He loves you. Though everything looks like it's going to hell, he gives you peace. And people are going to persecute you because you are in peace. And they're going to be looking at you like, why are you not like anxious and angry and da 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 da? But it's like, I have God, the Prince of Peace. He is my Father. Now, so keep walking in that. And people will see that. And that attracts them to God. Because all of us want that. All of us want that peace. Okay. So that's all I'm being led to talk about. But I hope this was good, a good Bible study. I love you. Please always, please comment if you have any other revelations to come. If you have anything, I'm very interested in hearing about it. So I love you. All the information of sewing, mentoring sessions is in the description below. My book is also in the description below. It is a really good book. You guys are going to want to read it. It's short. It's only 100 pages, but it's definitely going to change lives. That's what God has spoken to me, so I believe it. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.